All right, let's dive in and build the modern AI agent right from the ground up. We're going to look at all the core pieces and see exactly how they snap together. So let's get started.
So first, I've got to ask you a question. We're all getting pretty used to chatbots that can, answer questions. But what if an AI could actually do things for you, like book a whole trip, analyze a mountain of data, or manage your calendar, all on its own? That's the world of AI agents, and believe me, it is a massive leap forward.
The best way to really wrap your head around an AI agent is to just build one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put together what I like to call a digital being. It's a simple idea, but it's perfect for breaking an agent down into its three essential parts: a brain, a memory, and a body.
Okay, so here's the big picture. Now, this diagram might look a little complicated at first, but don't worry about it. It just shows how a question from you flows through the agent, which then uses a bunch of different tools to get the job done. We are going to take this whole thing apart, piece by piece, starting with the most important part of all.
Every digital being needs a brain, right? Well, for an AI agent, that brain is a large language model, or what we call an LLM. This is the part that does all the thinking, the reasoning, the heavy lifting.
So, what exactly is an LLM? Think of it like a giant brain, basically a huge neural network that's been trained on an unbelievable amount of text, books, articles, pretty much the entire internet. All that training gives it this incredible knack for understanding what you're asking, reasoning through problems, and writing back in a way that sounds completely human. It's the engine of our agent.
But, and this is a big but, this brain has a really critical flaw. Its knowledge is totally static. It's frozen in time, locked to the moment it was trained. It can't just go look things up or learn anything new on its own. It's basically working from memory alone, kind of like taking a closed book exam. And that means it can sometimes just make stuff up, a problem we call hallucination.
So how do you fix a brain that hallucinates? Well, you give it a memory. And that brings us to part 2, the memory. Giving our agent's brain access to outside knowledge is the absolute key to making it reliable and trustworthy.
And the solution has a name. It's a technique called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. RAG is what transforms our agent's brain from that closed book exam into an open book one. Now it can actually look up external, up-to-date facts before it gives you an answer. Game changer.
The process itself is actually brilliantly simple. First, you ask a question. Second, the RAG system zips off and searches the knowledge base, this could be a company's internal documents, a specific database, whatever, for the relevant info. And third, it hands those facts over to the LLM brain and says, hey, use these to answer the question.
And here's what that flow looks like in a bit more detail. Your question gets turned into a format the knowledge base can understand. It's basically a search query. Then the system finds the most relevant documents and feeds them to the brain as context. This step right here is what makes sure the final answer is based on actual, verified facts, not just what the LLM happens to remember.
So, the most important point is this. A standard LLM is just guessing from memory. But a RAG-powered agent, it's answering with evidence. And that one simple change makes a world of difference in its accuracy and how much you can trust it.
Now, if you want an even smarter memory, you can use something called a knowledge graph. Instead of just storing chunks of text, a knowledge graph actually maps out the relationships between things. So, for example, it doesn't just know Paris and France, it knows Paris is the capital of France. This much deeper contextual understanding lets the agent answer way more complex and nuanced questions.
Okay, so we've got a brain that can think and a memory that keeps it honest. But it's still just trapped inside the box. To actually do things in the world, our digital being needs a body.
And this body is provided by what we call agent frameworks, like LangChain or semantic kernel. The best way to think about these frameworks is as the nervous system. They're what connect the brain to the outside world and give it the ability to take action.
So what do these frameworks actually do? Well, they're really the operational backbone of the whole thing. They connect the LLM brain to a set of tools, they help manage those memory systems we just talked about, and, maybe most importantly, they help the LLM break down a really big goal into a series of smaller, doable steps. Now, when we say tools, we're really talking about the agent's hands and eyes. A tool could be the ability to search the web, or access a calculator, or pull information from a database. It could even be connecting to an app on your computer, like your calendar or your email.
Let's make this super concrete. Giving our agent a tool isn't some crazy, abstract thing. Using a framework like LangChain, This little snippet of code is literally all it takes to give our agent a fully working web search tool. With just these few lines, our digital being can now browse the internet to find whatever it needs. Now that is powerful.
And just like that, our digital being is complete. We've brought together the brain, the memory, and the body to create one system that can reason, remember, and finally, act.
So let's do a quick recap. We started with a powerful but kind of flawed LLM brain. Then we gave it a reliable memory using RAG to ground it in solid facts. And finally, we gave it a body using a framework, connecting it to tools so it could actually interact with the digital world.
You know, all this brings us to a pretty profound thought from the philosopher Nick Bostrom. As these agents get more and more capable, their potential to completely reshape our world is just immense. They aren't just tools anymore. They're becoming our collaborators. Which really leaves us with the big question as we move forward. It's not just about building more powerful agents anymore, it's about building smarter, safer agents. How do we make sure that as these digital beings evolve, their goals and their actions stay perfectly aligned with our own? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.